Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Master Fan Artist Team. I hope everyone's doing well with my fine Dr. Nikki presence. Now, welcome to the Master Fan Artist Team. Here with another comic. It's a fine Wednesday night, May 7th. It's been a real sunny day. It was 80 most of the time. I'm really happy about that. Basically, 40. It's been pretty decent. Out and about, doing my job. Taking a little time. Hope everyone's doing all right too. Experiencing coming of spring. I've been and yeah, this comic and it's food. Another comic. But if it's going too long, I'll probably step away from the arts. Say the status of Blackmask. Pretty. Sitting above did out. Anywho, hope everyone's doing well. Tonight, I've got work some personal stuff with this comic, but I will talk a little bit about how the game's been going. And, well, actually, there really isn't much new progress overall with how the game's going. But I have been doing some writing. A lot of the writing for me has been figuring out what Nad's character is and doing super just writing, getting script writing overall. I guess the more I learn about it, more of how I guess I've had been like, okay, right, doing my editing. I think I've spent more time writing this stuff but stop and write character by. And you end up kind of just going through a bit of that's maybe cool, kinda. Like with Nat, kind of figuring he could point what for those who don't know, I have a little thing box. They have a hierarchy. Box. Bigger not simply playing box. That's not how it works. Hey there. I'm far away from my computer. How about now? Am I sounding better? I hope I'm sounding better. I've been, again, I've been messing with my mic setup. I moved my mic out of the studio, but hopefully my mic will sound a lot better. All right, groovy. Yeah, my mic's up always just out of whack because I only have one mic and it's set up for just that specific location. So if I ever do traditional art streams and I move that mic, I have to completely re-alter those settings to actually so that they actually work with the mics. And, you'll have the mic over this table. Well, usually the mic will be over my computer and stuff like that. I think this mic is closer to how my computer usually is, but that's kind of just how I tackle it. But yeah, I should probably just reiterate what I've been talking about for, I guess, my writing process. So, my writing process for Blackmask, the actual proper game, not this comic, has been, it's got its ups and downs. It's me kind of just trying to understand what the characters are in terms of the story and stuff like that. And I'm always feeling a bit self-conscious when it comes to like, okay, is these motivations clear, or is Cole's motivation straightforward, or is everyone sympathetic junk like that? And you're always kind of like trying to figure out what the heck you're actually doing for for Blackmask and stuff like that. I could probably use this. And then we'll just have the knife right here. Because I have it like this. I need to not be so precious about the layout sketches because I'm kind of like going off the thumbnails. There we are. Gotta just figure out what I'm actually doing with this. I should probably make this more of a half shot, because Cole's knife is down here. Then you have the bubble here. Have the coyote here. Yeah, that'll work. You're just giving away free knives. That's not what this comic's supposed to be. Or no. Have it like this. Get rid of this spot, and of course the eraser is pretty good, and having A non-photo blue pencil's also good. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the toughest thing about just in general, just writing and stuff like that, is you always end up in a spiral of rewrites. And it's easy to kind of like look at your I guess the current writing, cringe, and be like, okay, I gotta rechange this because this just isn't as good as it should be. And you always kind of just feel like you could do way better, which I mean, obviously good. I think there's this Glass Crow where you're seeing your taste get better as you go. Because your taste is getting better, you're seeing the flaws in your old work because your taste is getting better. So I guess it's one of those things where you kind of have to, I speak with other writers and they're like, hey, you gotta like get through the suck for a bit because you're never gonna move forward. You're constantly second guessing in the middle of the edit when you need to get through the draft. So, I mean, I guess the current thing is I am sort of through the draft. It's just I'm now editing the second draft and I just don't want to edit the second draft. It just I don't want to edit the second draft. Because it's kind of like, okay, you have a document open and this is kind of a cool shot. And then you have coal and just have this open here. Now working. Handle this. Yeah, sorry. Now just understanding my language a bit and kind of see what I'm doing. Just having a bit of fun, kind of just figuring out what I'm doing with how the comic layout's looking. Because overall, I'm kind of just taking a break from pixel art for a bit, but I do some pixel art on the side, mostly like working on some basic storyboards for the game, and I'm doing storyboards while I'm writing, and that's basically how I'm kind of figuring out how the script is, and you're seeing the script and you're like, this is a little long for basically what I want, the like short little blurb. So you see how in most 8-bit games, words are just in very short bursts, they're not big, elaborate lines of text. I think with each of those words, probably like 2 or 3 lines, maybe a single sentence at most. That tells most of the game story. So I've kind of been trying to focus on getting myself to do that. So it is what it is. That's look at the thumbnail. I have 2 names. The rest here. Make it look absolutely trash compared to this elegant godlike knife here. Speech over here. One thing that's pretty nice about this page, there's not really many backgrounds, so I'm pretty happy to fiddle about with this page specifically. I think I could probably get this entire page for once. This would probably be like on a big game. Of course, I also have this. I can just look at this as a ref. Can't go off of how this is supposed to look. And it should be straightforward. And of course, I'll add the details when I'm actually sketching it. And probably like get this to look as elegant as possible with coal. Oh, you're playing Mega Man Extreme on the Game Boy. Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of those like Game Boy Color games, like a lot of 8-bit games, they're able to just convey a lot of just good emotions and writing with just that minimal script. And of course, me, I'm jumping on the deep end and kind of like, okay, I'm going from writing maybe 3 comics to creating a whole ass, I guess, indie game, and trying to compress my insane brainstorming stuff that I've been making since college. That's probably like a decade of world building. And there's still stuff missing in that world building that I never considered, because a lot of my world building is stuff that's in my sketchbook. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then you sometimes write it down. And then you kind of like re-look at your stuff and realize, I was weird when I did that back then. I got to change that. Or it's more boring than you thought, or it's more stupid than you thought, or it's, missing like specific details that are, go into world building theme. I guess. Like it's it's a lot of me kind of like learning as I go. So but I mean, the one thing that I do want to chase down is that cool minimalism type that minimalism of like those old games, which is why I am trying to keep in mind keeping the player that needs to know basics and not inundating them with so much detail right off. That's the one thing that I guess don't like about a lot of amateur fantasy books is it smashes it with a lot of detail. Actually, honestly, I think that's the difficulty with getting into new genre fiction. Is usually that first book is the roughest book, and you end up feeling like it's kind of a slog until maybe the 5th chapter, and then it starts kind of like picking up where you have the exposition, character introductions. I mean, it's all necessary, but it kind of just, a lot of books end up slower from the start. Then they start picking up like the 2nd book onward. That's obviously I shouldn't feel like I'm gonna be immune from that kind of stuff. Honestly, that's a great idea. Just do the instruction booklet more. I have a draft of the instruction booklet, but so far, what's in the instruction booklet is button controls right now. There's mostly like button controls in a draft of the characters that are in the demo right now. I do have ideas of other characters who will be in the overall story. But of course, there's also a matter of figuring out, okay, what are the actual proper what are the actual details of the planned levels, because I know there are 4 scenarios that I'm like sticking with, where it's like Cole has a choice between going to these 4 areas in whatever order he can scrape up the money in. And then in between those scenarios, Cole is doing, merchant work to kind of like do little odd jobs, walk around the hub world, do side quests in order to make money to go to the next area. That's the rough idea of how the game flow will go. And then the main quest is figuring out, the problem of that area. And that's the gist of how I want to tackle it. Kind of like chunky, like small, bite-sized, kind of episodic things that you don't have to basically go through the linear thing to understand. Or, a lot of the areas are now self-contained. That's what I'm shooting for story-wise with that, so. Get that there. Let's see. Get that there. Good. Yeah. Because I another thing with the website was the website was also going to be basically a digital manual, but I haven't updated the Blackmask website in so long because there really isn't much to update with that. Like there's like a lot of the update stuff is basically on Adam, and I don't want to put stuff that I put on my social media, which is overall my sketchbook with that, because I don't actually know if that'll be implemented. So that's why I guess that's the conundrum that I always have when it comes to really talking about the game. Is as much as I like coming up with characters, stories, and weapon ideas, at the end of the day, it's all weapon ideas. I'm like, can this actually work? I don't even know if it'll work. Like, we're still early. I'm still waiting to figure out if Adam has improved the jump. Like, there's I have a build from my programmer that he sent to me, and the build, it's playable, but it's just the controls are out of whack. It's a 4-button game, which I was basically planning for a 2-button, but if push comes to shove and it's not fun, well, probably goes to a 4-button game. But I would like to go to a 2-button game because that'd be ideal for me, for keeping up the Game Boy kayfabe overall. It's already well beyond the sprites are well beyond the actual Game Boy's capacity. I even tried getting a lot of the sprites in the DV Studio. Yeah, a lot of them have too many unique tiles that they won't really run, and I have to do some tricks overall to figure that out. And of course, not taking enough time to do that. So that's one of the thousands of things that I'm sort of not doing. Is I'm not doing a lot to work on the game. I guess on a maybe learn Unity engine and kind of just get more familiar with that engine, work on that as a thing. But it's difficult to decide what's really needs to be done, because the only things that really need to be done are getting a story just written and making a rough like destination. Because I do, it does. So it's kind of weird because on one hand it needs a world map, on the other hand I always think of Blackmask as a thing that doesn't need a world map because it's more open, where So when I initially thought about Cole, the Blackmask as a webcomic, the general premise was Cole was a wandering merchant, and I would open the comic with Cole. Oh yeah, I get this. I open a comic with Cole just basically being in media res. He is here. I don't elaborate on where he was before too much. He's just there. I've even got ideas where one day Cole would open up inside he would open up inside a locked box. He wouldn't have memory of how he actually got there, and a lot of the situation would just be him just getting his way, figuring out his bearing with that. That's a lot of rough stuff with a more episodic comic with that, but with the video game, it's I gotta make do with a lot of stuff. So it is what it is. Of course, I do a lot of bubbles to make sure that there is writing space. These panels kind of, I'm looking at my thumbnails up above my desk, and I'm kind of noticing that a lot of these panels are kind of similar. Yeah, it is what it is. I think I'm probably just overthinking this. That's another problem that I'm feeling that's contributing to me not getting stuff done fast, is I keep overthinking most of this stuff. Especially when it comes to the game stories where it's like, bro, it's just a new treasure hunting. Stop overthinking this stuff and just do it, bro. Because I guess because I'm a weird perfectionist overall, that's why I'm kind of just feeling an unreasonable pressure to just make this work. Because when you drag another person into your, I guess, dream project, you kind of feel responsibility to make it worth their time, I suppose. I mean, obviously, I don't want to make it seem like, I don't want to make it seem like I don't appreciate my programmer's time and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where it's like, I guess I don't feel as I guess I feel a slightly more pressure to make this more for others instead of, I guess, for myself, I suppose. I don't know how I can explain it, but that's basically how I'm kind of seeing this as building this game, going from a webcomic to making a proper video game. And I just figured out how can I make a lot of success, which honestly, I probably will be doing that anyway if I was making a comic that other people are reading. I think that's mostly a given with that. I suppose it's just me kind of just worried that if I mess up, other people are going to see it a way that I didn't intend to see it, and I'll feel, I guess, upset. And it's kind of unreasonable to be upset about that, so I guess it's one of those things where I'm overthinking in general. Thumbs are out. Out. Whenever you're drawing the thumbs, when they turn out like this, the thumbs are out of the face. I guess that's a nice like rule of thumb when trying to remember how to draw hands. But yeah, I mean, the process of a Blackmask is slow and steady. It's probably just on me constantly rushing myself and worrying about nothing. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a video, and I'm doing this because I'm supposed to enjoy video, you know? As much as I want to say, yes, I want to make the fucking game of the year, I shouldn't feel that constant pressure about, you know, the biggest game in the world is about making a cool video game that you can enjoy with your friends, that you can make it and say you made a video game. It's not a lie. I gotta constantly keep that in mind when it comes to that, even through my anxieties when it comes to just a lot of bull crap in the game industry. You know, you kind of feel like, you know, a lot of technology and stuff is kind of just very anti-artist. Video games are also just overall just the meat crusher when it comes to, you know, all the I guess artistic merit and things like that. Like even indie games are a bit of a churn and meat grinder sometimes, because again, as an indie, you are grinding to make sure that you're not grinding, but making a gamble of whether or not it'll even be a success. Obviously, I want to think positive. About that success, but I don't want to delude myself into thinking that I'm going to be, you know, probably the next Hollow Knight or whatever. So, gotta figure that out as I go. Okay. This is roughly penciled. I'm kind of just seeing this from far away, noticing that the blue line looks so pale. Can't see it at all. But I will crap pencil. But yeah, hopefully you can at least see the blue line alright. And if not, I'm gonna actually be using real pencils real soon. Just need to sharpen this. But actually, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna step up, sharpen this pencil some more, take a break, stretch my back, and I'll be right back. Hello, and I return. Welcome back. I managed to do 4 Bulgarian split squats, which is you know, you put one leg on your chair, and you do a single squat, like you use the other leg to squat down, and you know, you do 4 each leg, and that's a basic office routine of how you can, you know, get yourself a little bit more exercise, push yourself to, you know, just do some more exercises. So I've been getting myself to exercise a bit more often, and you know, trying to push myself to get healthier in general. I'm even considering purchasing a bicycle, and I don't know if you know, it's kind of expensive. It's like a $500 bike. At least that's what they were offering. It's a Trek I think it's like a Trek Vertex or Vert bike something. I mean, you know, I'll look at the notes later, but it's like a Vert 3. Vert 3. Yeah, it's like a Vert 3 bike or something, but Basically, it's an actual proper cyclist cycle. So this is, it's a legit, real ass bike for overall real cyclists. I mean, it's still on the, I suppose the newbie side of bike purchases, like not a full competition bicycle. But in general, it's a decent bike for actually riding 60 miles a day, which is my goal, I'd say. I want to be able to ride 60 miles a day as I'm going to like the store from my house and back. So that's the big notable hope, is being able to get to my store. That's far along the lines. I've been looking at it for a while, and I've kind of just been chatting around with a few friends, other friends who are either fitness folks or deal with bike stuff. So yeah, obviously they're trying to get me to do it because obviously they want more people riding a bike, because riding is a healthier lifestyle in general. My day job is a bus driver, and so most of my day is sitting around doing nothing, essentially. So, any tiny way to get myself to move more often is a better way overall. And the main reason why I'm thinking about riding a bike right now is because I don't like this pose. Like, looking at this pose, I'm like, yeah, this pose ain't winning me right now. Let me, where's my sketchbook? You know what? Let me, let me get a sketchbook that's actually worthwhile here. Try to figure out what would make this sketchbook. Again, this is supposed to be a coyote. I think it's difficult to understand. I think it's tough to make a coyote look more distinct than a fox. I think one thing is adding a little nose touch here. Hopefully that'll work. I like going off of this pose, and I like thinking this would be starved. You see his ribs. No. I like looking at this, kind of like looking, figuring out how the hell to actually draw this hand. This. like looking at this and trying to like figure out what would be the good expression. Probably something like something like this. That that's closer to how I got here. So kind of just looking at this and figuring out what the heck would actually make this work more. Problem solving. That makes sense. Look good. I guess I give a lot of fucks about how I arrange my hands. So that's why I'm just doing this like that. This has more character. No, that'll work. I think I kind of know what I need to do. Probably just me kind of just experimenting. Oh yeah, a lot of doing this is figuring out what'll actually work in terms of interesting posing and stuff like that. And you're never really gonna know what'll actually work until you actually figure out, how you're gonna tackle this. Obviously, you kind of have these ribs here. Have monotone chest. Yeah, I'm liking this actually. I may like have the ears down. Not because it'll fit this panel a bit better, but also is a good dog language for just saying a bit more apprehensive. I should probably get that rolling. Oh yeah, totally missed out of Savan leaving. Says leaving. That's all right. I don't want to, make a big deal when people leave because obviously they have stuff to do. So, that's how that goes. sort of getting into Ultra Instinct right now. Getting into, we're just making shit work now. Getting looser in terms of just penciling. I think compared to Shirley's Day, my pencils have gotten much looser. A bit more freeing, or at least things have been more free flowy. Yeah, and I always kind of like wonder, am I becoming a looser penciler, or am I becoming a crappier penciler? And that can be an interesting difference. Let me see if I can't just erase this spot. I mean, I look at a few comic pages and they're much looser than they look, when they're close up. But also I've seen other comic artists who are tight AF, get their stuff like being massive with and it's way too large. Fur is too out here. There we are. It's also kind of funny because I'm basically character designing this coyote as I go. Like, this guy looks significantly different than how I got it here. In fact, I am kind of misrepresenting how his pants are supposed to look. Yeah, because his pants are supposed to be much less. And honestly, I'm still not as happy with the knife, because one, he's not holding his fucking knife. So, also, I'm also noticing that I'm putting more effort in this character than I did with Cole's character. Like, he looks significantly darker than how I had Cole. There. Good. Looking slightly better. Because I kind of want this guy to have a bit more of just, he looks very lean, but he could be putting on a bit more pounds. Like, he has I guess a starvation gut. You ever see someone like really starving, so they have a lot of belly, like the starvation's more it's not really like a gut, but more bloated gas because the stomach's so empty. It's you'll see it a lot of like a lot of people who are starving don't have enough to eat, and they don't have, I guess, food that's metabolized. I'm still not happy with it here. Honestly, one of these games just looked so much simpler. No. This. Yeah, the more I erase, the more it's gonna look like I'm dulling the paper a lot. So, a lot of rules of thumb is to not erase as much as you can. That looks slightly better. It is what it is. Shouldn't be being so precious about these pages because they're supposed to be my pencil art. I'm supposed to be able to crank these out in like 10 minutes, honestly. Like that's the general standard of comics, is you're able to crank these out in 10 minutes. Of course, when it comes to, I guess, making something that looks decent, if you're actually expert, you can do that. As you know, you'll learn to do it faster. It's just I'm still so inexperienced when it comes to doing a lot of these comics that I'll just let this panel go. I guess I'm just still very inexperienced when it comes to doing a lot of these comics overall, so. Probably like this. Yes. The inner blade is inside. Use that perspective. Where's my there it is. Yes, since the night's still out here, I should have had my I should have had a copy of the model just pinned up so I can actually look at it again. I didn't scan it, but it's still on my bag. Probably should be diving in my bag so much. But I have been, I am warming back up more. At first I was having a bit of trouble just at the beginning of the stream, but now I'm a bit more warm. I guess it goes to show that when you're doing a lot of these streams, that it can be easy to feel like it can be easy to let your nerves kind of shoot you up because you're not in talking in public mode. You're not in like walk and talk and stream mode. So it can be easy to kind of like feel like you're not really doing much of that. That was really exaggerating now, but this is probably one of the few times where I'm really kind of just messing about with just really proper emotions and storytelling. A lot of the times I'm diving into my sketchbooks, I'm not really thinking as much as I like about how the characters will look at storytelling. A lot of times it's just a bunch of missing sketches out of context and weird, in vague situations that may or may not amount to rough characterization until you're actually trying to make a thing in a proper sequence with a proper story. And that's where you're actually making your marks look, because you know what kind of situation the character's in right now. You actually know what emotion it you need for this moment. It's kind of funny. I think because I've been always just in close proximity to just most furries, I've been getting subconsciously better at drawing feet. And I never intended to get better. It's just because you're so exposed to foot people, you're kind of just like, you want to be around. But then you just suddenly, sometimes you just slowly and steadily just start, I suppose, absorbing that knowledge by osmosis. You end up getting better at it as you go. Or at least you end up getting more expressive at, I suppose, drawing feet better. It's stupid. This knife looks pretty good. I could probably do some really crap shading here.
Searching through the dark for traces of the love you left inside my lonely heart, to weave by picking up the pieces that remain. Melodies of life, love's lost refrain.
I'll just let this go because this will be covered by the speech bubble anyway, so I don't know why I put in some detail on that. Yeah, well. Next panel. I also realized that I did a majority of this panel well off. But it is what it is. Making the rust knife just look as crap as possible next to this immaculate, super clean knife. Have little notches and nicks, and little broken spots there, and just fiddle around with how crap this knife looks. I should probably just establish many of these panels just to be right there. I think the one thing that's really nice about just doing bird characters is I can basically just be as loose as I like with my pencils. I can just do whatever I need to. Also, another nice thing about just having this giant ass canvas to just draw on after being so used to tiny sketchbooks that are portable in your pocket. You know, having these pocket sketchbooks, once you're able to just let loose, you kind of feel freedom in a way. Oh. Keep losing track of my pages. Because I'm constantly just referencing this page, kind of figure out, okay, what's this actually look like? Yeah. I should probably talk about seeing Thunderbolts recently. So, yesterday I saw Thunderbolts and it was great. The Elania felt like a way better Black Widow, like full stop. I hadn't seen the actual Black Widow movie with. I hear she debuted in that Black Widow movie. I didn't see it, but apparently she was really good in that movie too. But yeah, in Thunderbolts, yeah, she was really good. And it actually makes me all the madder that it's like, why wasn't this type of characterization with Black Widow, right down to the actual Russian accent, you know? I mean, it's probably a dumb stereotype, but, you know, the Russian accent. You have Black Widow. She's supposed to be this Russian super spy, and yet she just sounds like ScarJo, you know? She just sounds like Scarlett Johansson with her American accent just messing about. Meanwhile, you have Yelania committing to the Russian accent, just committing to the fun Eastern European, just funness with that. So, she's been pretty good. I'm surprised Taskmaster got killed straight into her introduction. Like, it wasn't even any ceremony with that. I was legit expecting Taskmaster to be in there, but I guess Taskmaster was either too hard or too broken to actually work. It is what it else. I'm probably not gonna fret too hard about no Taskmaster, because I hear it's not a good depiction of Taskmaster for I guess the adaptation of the MCU's Taskmaster. This will work. Have some depth to this. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. Obviously, Captain America, or at least John Walker's been fun. The Call of Duty Captain America, as I kind of like see him as, because he kind of reminds me of just a lot of those bro co-workers that I have. So that's kind of just one of those fun little things with Captain America. Ghost is okay. Ghost was kind of not there at all. I think most of her characterization was in the actual Ant-Man movie, but I never saw Ant-Man, so I never saw like Ant-Man 2, whatever it was. So I didn't know anything about what Ghost could do, other than I suppose she can just go through walls. And of course, there are little moments where it was obvious that they had to nerf her a lot in order to just make her not break the entire story. But it is what it is with that. Also, Sentry was fantastic. Like that, Bob, or whoever acted as Bob, was just great. He was funny at the good spots, and then just, near cheer jerker at the proper Sentry spots and things like that. It's a fine little bit of it's a fine, heartfelt movie, and there hasn't been, I guess, a Marvel movie with a lot of heart since Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was 2 years ago? Maybe last year? No, 2 years ago. Oh yeah, that's been pretty fun. What else? Bucky was pretty great. I like the his initial intro scene where a lot of the people are trying to interview him as a senator, and he gives the most fucking senator ass answer imaginable, which was just a non-answer. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Bucky's definitely a politician. And of course, the politician girl who is trying to make the Thunderbolts into the new Avengers. She was solid. I was expecting Amanda Waller, but she does her job as she should have. Like, she was more politics lady than tyrant warden, I suppose. That's the best I can say. She is better in that role specifically, because Suicide Squad, as the concept, it was more cynical than Thunderbolts, I'd say. Well, I don't know much about like how Thunderbolts is as a comic. Maybe Thunderbolts still has the the villains will die if they don't do what they're told type of thing, but Thunderbolts didn't really give off that the villains are hopelessly stuck with following the orders of the character with that stuff. But for this one, for Thunderbolts, it was pretty good. There were more anti-heroes overall than villains, really. Like, I'd say there were maybe 2 villains in that team, really. Be like Taskmaster and Ghost are villainous overall, but other than that, not many of them really were, I guess, evilish. I guess if you want to get into semantics about, I guess, the Russian characters. Oh yeah, and Red Guardian was hilarious. Just fuck yeah, just put Zangief in your thing, and you just got him. Like, why is it Red Guardian in Marvel vs. Capcom? There should be. I think there's a reference to Red Guardian in Marvel 3. I don't know if that's true, but it would be appropriate. But that would be looking at my thumbnail, that could work. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing Thunderbolts, I absolutely recommend it. It's pretty it's good. I like that. I saw it before I saw Sinners because I felt like Sinners was more of a Sinners had to be a specific mood over I guess Thunderbolts was a crap ass popcorn movie. I mean, I'm not calling it crap, the movie itself, but it's just the atmosphere. I mean, the crowd was decent, so that was good. If anything, I feel like I disrupted the crowd too much because I was actually laughing at a lot of those jokes, like full giggling. So that's probably just mostly on me. So if anyone from the theater is watching this stream, which is very unlikely, but if anyone there, I apologize. I'm sorry for screwing the theater experience, You're like, Yeah, I'm kind of just looking at this and assessing. There we are. And that's nearly down. Again, this page is a little easier because I don't have to worry about backgrounds too much. Which I'll probably do a lot of the backgrounds on the previous page. Probably just off stream because overall this page is nearly done. Or at least this comic's nearly done. Because I think I got 2 more out of 6 pages left to do. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the Cole silhouette a bit too much. Yeah, like putting Cole in silhouette. I guess one big comic thing that I like doing is I like putting foreground characters in silhouettes. As one, it saves me from drawing their actual detail, and 2, I actually kind of just like the effect. It's nice and it contrasts better. So I like this effect. And that'll work. You know what? I'm gonna take a break because it's I'll get to this next panel and then I'll just take a break. So I'm gonna stand up, stretch for one final time, and I will be right back. And I'm back. Let's get back to tackling this panel. And maybe once I finish this panel, we'll probably wrap it up. So, I suppose in addition to what I've been up to for the past weekend and stuff like that, like stuff, seeing movies and stuff like that. I'm also prepping for another convention. I'm prepping for Oak Park Public Library fan events. Obviously, it's in Oak Park, Illinois. So if you're not in Illinois, it's difficult to really ask you to come all the way to this state to get out here. I'm prepping for another local show, and that's gonna be, it is gonna be straightforward. It's gonna be another library thing. But again, I'm gonna be selling my stickers, selling those real fast. Hopefully, they'll sell fast. It's I'm kind of giving them a bit of a smug green face. Honestly, it works for him. It's always like one of those things where, oh, the smug green workspace. But it's like, no, it's if it's for a dude who has a legit good attitude, why not just do the smug dream workspace? Like, what's actually inherently wrong? It's the right face for the right situation. Obviously, you shouldn't overuse it, but it's like, yeah. I also realized I switched my Blackwing instead of my Tom Battle, but honestly, it's one of those things. I feel like I've been really liking this Blackwing actually, compared to my mechanical pencil. I think just one issue when it comes to using a Blackwing is that because I sharpen it so sharp, I literally just use a knife to sharpen this pencil. The tip out here, but then put it in your pocket, the tip breaks. So, it's a little thing that I gotta constantly be aware of in general. Here. I didn't need the break, but honestly, better do the break than not do the break. I try not to feel so self-conscious taking so many breaks doing this. But the fact that it is my stream, I can do whatever I want with this stream. But it's like, I didn't want to at least be remotely entertaining with a lot of this work, because again, people are showing up to watch me draw. You should probably see me do cool drawings at least. But I try not to get too into my head about a lot of stuff. And again, there's no real deadline, there's no competition when it comes to streaming. It's not like I'm gonna be a giant streamer when it comes to a lot of this art stuff. It's literally just I'm doing this on the weekdays in my spare time, just to keep myself accountable to actually working on stuff, as opposed to meandering on my computer and like fast, which tends to happen when I'm I guess on the weekdays when I'm working. I'll either be cooking something, or I'll spend time on someone else's stream and kind of just enjoy my time with them there, or I'll end up on a weird wiki dive doing random bullshit. And so you end up not even doing the thing that you should be doing. And kind of blowing the weekday, not actually using that weekday correctly course, obviously this ain't a competition. But it is what it is with that. Pop off on the sack, stacking stacks of ill lines. Yes, you bring it that. Deep underground like more mines. Number one kitty cat lover on the skin saying, hey, paradiddle with a treaty in the middle. Adding colors to the tones like a jumbo bag of Skittles. Waking up to 30 alarms, you stay snoozing. Billy Bill on the trumpet going for the kill. 100% UV, fire like an Uzi. But who me? That long glass kind of looks like Lugosi. Sliding through Bones, Jones, Malone, trumpet and saxophone playing from coast to coast. Really real for real, it ain't a hoax. No one telling lies, it's the truth. Now, screw up the hair just a bit. I think the one thing that I feel like I'm not doing well with my art style is I'm using a lot of really soft lines instead of something a little hard overall. Stepping on deck, coming through with the illness and the realness from Tucson to Forsyth, runway 5, it keeps it live. Like Ishni, Sign, Ichiban, numero uno. The name tells it all, no pseudo. From the soul like De La, fresh dope, organic. You said you had to be a certain skin tone to get up and rock. Live long and prosper like Spock. I wanna be Trekkie. Yes, we came to take over, snatching all souls up and sold out. Verbal Mortal Kombat or lyrical sword slash casserole. Of course, I'm getting self-conscious about the fact that I should have got this done days ago. I work on this comic specifically once a week because I think this is just relegated to a side status where I just work on the comic while I'm working on making sprites while working on making, doing day job. Because usually when I have like 5 minutes away from my day job, I will use that 5 minutes, whether I'm at lunch, on my lunch break or anything like that, or taking my brother to, work on a few sprites. So I'll get some sprites down in Pick Square and just get some super basic, block or arrange some animation. Big Square is kind of tough because you don't really have a lot of Pick Square stuff is very limited to how the iPad is. Like you don't have short keys really. Actually, you do, but I don't I don't keep my mini keyboard in my car or in my bus or anything like that. So I'm basically just going just iPad only and not really working with the actual proper mini keyboard. Maybe I'm a lion. This is a stupendous waste of lead because probably just gonna work with probably could have just made this. Let's see if I can get some consistent lighting here. A lot of this lighting is kind of flat. Yeah. Okay. Thinking. Lighting's here. I just get this. I think right now I'm kind of just padding time a bit because it's 9:30. I should be in bed, but I did take basically just the kind of not too blah, you know. And I do try to plan my lighting also around setting up the shadows surrounding the important part. So I don't like the night as much. I don't like the night as well, or I don't shade the night as well because I want to stick out the general silhouettes of characters. So obviously the light will adhere to real life, but not completely perfect. That way, I want to make sure that everything will focus on the right spots with contrast and things like that. And obviously, when you use the side of the black, you're basically getting a whole lot more shading in comparison to just having the tip. Yeah, have a CAD pencil, you have this tiny little tip. You can't really do much with the tip. If you draw inside the tip will smash off and fall out. This is hard. It's also spread graphite it's wider because it's soft lead. The general black we use too. It's an overall soft pencil, a soft lead. So you basically spread that lead and use a lighter candle to spread just as much lead as if you were using HB. You had to really get the most of the lead. Wow. But this, I am barely just pressing now, which is also the reason why I'm able to erase it so easily, because it's so easy to just lift up. So that's, I guess, my mini fanboying about how cool pencils are to this traditional material. And of course, when you use a higher B pencil, something like a 4B or a 6B, be darker, be soft. But also, you can make the most out of you can make the most out of your tube by just planting certain pencil strokes, so cross and stuff like that. So that's a basic traditional art approach for doing stuff like that. Of course, when you ink it, it'll be much more straightforward with that. So far, so good. This has been pretty nice here. Again, you are overall using this pencil to kind of signify the lighting overall. And of course, I'm putting more effort into these pencils than I should. I think I'm doing this mostly for stream demonstration purposes, not just say, hey, here's how I tackle legit comic penciling. Because if I wanted to be faster, I could just ink straight on the blue lines. Usually, if you're seeing any of my ink artwork, especially if I'm just taking the raw picture, I will use both blue line pencil and a red line pencil, and sometimes a thinner blue line pencil to refine the drawing before I go into the inks at all. So that's basically how I would tackle general purpose drawing. But if I'm demonstrating legit penciling, or if I want to be a comic pencil artist, of course, that dream's sort of dead at the moment. I'm not gonna elaborate too hard, but I'm sure you know about comics and comics history. You kind of just know why I'm not so clean to care about, I guess, mainstream comics these days. But yeah, if you're doing actual penciling and you know someone else is going to ink that work too, you can do well to tackle this as fast as possible. All right. Is it weird that I never remember to put whiskers on any of my animal characters? I've seen some drawings where some artists will put whiskers on their OCs and other artists won't. It's kind of one of those things where it's such a fine detail that you aren't going to notice that as much unless you're really looking for it. But yeah, it is what it is with that. What time is it? Probably 9:30, right? Feeling 8:50. You know what? I think I'll just wrap this up because I basically just finished this, page 4, just like I promised. Finished the pencil like that. Probably could go to page 5, but you know what? I will go to that maybe next week or maybe a different stream. There's a few other streams I can tackle, but honestly, I'm feeling tired. Usually, I just need to. I think that's kind of just all the steam we got. But thanks everyone for stopping by. Thank you, Cessna, for commenting and having some insight on this writing video games. And next week, I will be doing more comics pages, and follow me online for my basically daily drawings of general stuff, whether it's pixel art or drawings that I've made in my sketchbook. I'm always drawing basically every day, and even when I don't post, I'm still drawing every day, even if it's a crappy doodle. So yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. I'll see you all next time. Have a good night.